Hey, what's up you guys? David here, and I'm back with another CD collection update for you guys. So, if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Lurking Evil with the Almighty Hordes of the Undead. This is released on Razorback Recordings, and this is a label that I got familiar with, again, thanks to Scourge of Vinyl. Thank you once again for having me check out something pretty cool. Pretty much the reason why I gained an interest or had an interest in this label is because I can't remember what band or what album he was talking about at the time, but he said it was just a metal label that was all their stuff is horror themed. I was like, okay, that's definitely got to be something I got to check out. And so yeah, the first thing I decided to check out from Razorback Recordings was Lurking Evil. These guys are from Spain, I believe. And when did this album come out? Let me see if I can figure that out, because I don't do research on this shit before I do my videos, because I'm an idiot. Nope, can't find the year on it. I want to say it's like 2012, 2011, something like that. I could be completely wrong. Feel free to put it down in the comments and tell me how wrong I am. But yeah, that Lurking Evil, Almighty Hordes of the Undead. The best way to describe the sound of this band, I would say, it's like death thrash with, I guess, some like blackened and punk vibes, I guess you could say. But yeah, like I said, all horror themed. Got a very cool looking cover of a bunch of skeletons coming out of the grave, and it looks like you got like a wizard or necromancer in the back or something. Very cool. I've only listened to it about once or twice. It's pretty good. You know, it's really fun, catchy stuff, cool riffs, cool sounding vocals, catchy. I already said catchy. But, yeah. I mean, if you want some horror-themed metal, Razorback Recordings is definitely a label that I recommend you check out. I personally enjoy everything I've heard from them so far. So definitely go give Razorback Recordings your support. They are based out of Kentucky, actually, my home state. So, yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that. That is Lurking Evil with the Almighty Hordes of the Undead. And next up, we had the debut full-length from Gruesome, Savage Land. This came out back in 2015 on Relapse Records. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Gruesome by now. I've talked about them on here once before, showing off their Dimensions of Horror EP. And surprisingly, I didn't own this yet. I remember when this came out, I was going to get the t-shirt CD bundle, and for some reason, I guess because I already bought the digital album, I decided to go with the t-shirt, and I didn't pick up the CD until just recently. But yeah, Gruesome, Savage Land, fucking fantastic album, my #1 favorite for 2015, easily. Yeah, for those who are familiar, I'll give you a rundown real quick. This is basically a death tribute band. This is a supergroup project. You got Matt Harvey on guitar and vocals from Exhumed. You got Daniel Gonzalez from Possessed on guitar as well. You got Gus Rios from Malevolent Creation on drums. And Robin Mason on bass from the Death Doom band Darketa. So, yeah, fucking great album. Very much in the vein of Death Leprosy. Some spiritual healing-esque kind of stuff on here as well, and a little bit of scream bloody gore as well. But I would say mainly Leprosy is the sound that you'll hear on this. And again, if you feel like this is a ripoff and you don't like it, you know, fair enough, I get it. But, you know, I'd say if you're a Death fan, just at least give it a chance. I love it. You know, I've got no problem with them doing this, because they're doing it so faithfully, and you know, they are technically creating their own songs, even though they're basically playing death songs upside down backwards. But I don't know. I love it. I've got no problem with it. I hope they continue to do it, and I can't wait for their album, Twisted Prayers, to come out here in a couple days. My pre-order for that should be arriving soon. So yeah, expect for me to talk about Gruesome on this channel again very, very soon. So, it's Gruesome, Savage Land. And next up, we got Chthe'ilst with Dernier, Crepuscule. This is released on Profound Lore Records. This came out back in 2016. This was definitely one of my favorites for 2016, especially counting all the great death metal that came out in 2016. Unfortunately, I heard this, but somehow I fucking missed Blood Incantation. I didn't end up checking that out until later on. But yeah, Chthe'ilst, very, very solid death metal. Fucking crazy, crazy gutturals. These vocals are just so goddamn low. It's nuts, but they're great. Very Demolic-esque, I would say. Actually, the music overall reminds me a lot of Demolic, honestly. And you want to know the funny thing? I actually ended up listening to these guys before Demolic, because at the time I didn't know who Demolic was. I didn't know much about the Finnish death metal scene either, but I was watching Banger TV. They were doing their episode on the first half of favorite metal albums so far for 2016, and I believe his name was Jason DeVille. He brought up this album as one of his favorites, and he said, you know, they take this Quebec tech death kind of sound and mix that with, you know, the Finnish death metal, like, you know, Demolic. I was like, huh, I've never heard of Demolic before. So, yeah, like I said, I actually, I ended up checking these guys out first, and then discovered more of the Finnish death metal stuff later. But if that's your kind of thing, I think you're definitely going to find something to like with Chthe'ilst. Just really cool bass parts on here, too. Really catchy, very groovy. But this is still just, this is some crushing death metal. And I love the Tales on the Majora mythos, the last track on the album that pays tribute to Legend of Zelda. Very, very cool. Let's see. I can't remember who else in this band. You got one of the members is from First Fragment. The other is from Beyond Creation. And I can't remember the rest. So forgive me for that. But yeah. If you want some stuff that sounds a lot like Demolic, you know, a lot of the Finnish death metal stuff, and added on with that, you know, that Canadian tech death sort of vibe onto it, you're going to find something to enjoy here. There's also some points where this album gets pretty atmospheric as well. After the end of the first or the second track, you just hear like this dripping water that sounds like you're in a fucking cave, and you hear like just these like roars and just these, I don't know how to describe it, just these monster sort of sounds. It sounds like a monster's around the corner at any fucking second. It's just, I love it. But, you know, you got moments like that sprinkled throughout the album where it gets kind of atmospheric in some points. But, yeah, definitely one of the best death metal albums for 2016, in my opinion. This cover art. So, yeah, that's Chthe'ilst with Le Dernier Crepuscule. Next up, we got Death Curse with their self-titled Death Curse. Again, this is on Razorback Recordings. As you can see, very influenced by Friday the 13th. You got the Jason mask on the logo and everything. And you got the maskless Jason chasing the chick whose titties are exposed. Yeah, this is pretty much a death thrash, I guess you could say, with some punk vibe to it. It's pretty good. I've only listened to it once, but yeah, I don't know. There's not too much else I can say about it, because I don't know anything about the members in the band or anything. I remember again, Scourge of Vinyl showed this off, and that's why I ended up checking this one out. But yeah, it's pretty good. There's some cool riffs on here, some catchy songs. You know, some pretty good some pretty solid death thrash. So if you're looking for some Friday the 13th influenced death thrash, check out Death Curse. So yeah, Death Curse with their self-titled. And I can't remember what year that came out. Once again, on Razorback Recordings, we got Orloff with Apparitions Among the Graveyard Skies. This is a really cool album. Very eerie, creepy sounding keyboards throughout that gives it that horror atmosphere. And it's mostly death metal, I would say, pretty much. And yeah, pretty solid stuff. Love the cover art too. That's really fucking cool. I hope this glare is not fucking things up too bad. If so, I apologize. But yeah, this is really cool shit. Really enjoy this. I've listened to this about 2 or 3 times. And yeah, just some more solid horror themed metal from Razorback Recordings. Like I said, you definitely need to go check them out if that's your thing. So Anything else to say about this? No, I think that's it. So if you just want some eerie, creepy sounding, atmospheric at points, death metal, check out Orloff. So that's Orloff with Apparitions Among the Graveyard Skies. Next up, we got Coffins with Craving to Eternal Slumber. This is an EP that contains 6 tracks. It was released on Hammerheart Records. And this is, even though this is just an EP, this is a very lengthy EP. It's almost 30 minutes. That's a lot of material for an EP. Usually I won't pick up an EP on CD if it's just like maybe like 2 songs and barely over like, 10 minutes, something like that. I usually won't bother with it. Depends on the band, I guess. But Coffins. I've talked to you guys about Coffins before. Very, very fucking crushing, heavy-ass death doom from Japan. Easily one of my favorite death doom bands. Very cool cover art as well. Fucking glare. But, yeah. I think this is their latest release, and they are supposed to be releasing an album later on this year, from what I hear. That should be coming out on Relapse Records. Can't fucking wait for that. Just like all the other Coffin stuff that you've heard, this is basically no different. Coffins doesn't really change up their sound that much, but yet every album they make, they never really seem to get boring or repetitive. They just got these fucking riffs that will just cave into your skull and will not leave. Man, seriously, the fucking riffs of this band will just fucking pound you into dust until you are nothing. Seriously, I love it. I love their thick, thunderous bass tone. The vocals are just absolutely just inhuman and monstrous sounding. Very, very cool stuff. My favorite track on here is easily Decapitated Crawl. That's the final track on here. Just, man, if that riff doesn't, or if this song overall just does not get your head to begging, something's wrong with you, man. Easily my favorite track on here. But yeah, Coffins, Craving to Eternal Slumber. I think that's all I've got to say. Next up, we have Necrot with Blood Offerings. This was released last year, out on Tank Crimes Records. Unfortunately, this is one of those. Man, last year had a ton of great death metal releases, and sadly, I did not get to hear a lot of these until after 2017 ended because I was just busy listening to so much other shit. I should have paid a little more attention to what these other labels were putting out, because Necrot, man, this is very, very solid death metal. Just really cool, cavernous sounding vocals, crushing heavy riffs, lots of punk vibes going on with this. I don't know too much else about the members of the band. There's a cover art, really cool. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The riffs on here are just so great, so catchy, heavy as fuck. This shit just jams. This is just really, really solid death metal. I'm at a loss for words. This is just great stuff. I just wish I would have got to it, a little bit earlier, the year it was released. But, there's nothing wrong with hearing stuff after they come out, With music fans, we've always got so much shit to listen to. But, yeah, I can't think of anything else to say about it. Just go fucking listen to it. It's incredible. Necrot, Blood Offerings. And again, we have another solid death metal album that came out last year, Phrenelith with Desolate Endscape, released on Dark Descent Records. It's, again, yeah, one of those great death metal albums that came out last year that I did not get to hear until the year after. But, man, love it. A lot of incantation stuff, a lot of incantation influence going on here, along with a lot of other great death metal band influence, Immolation, Funebrarum, stuff like that. Again, just full of fucking great riffs. So fucking heavy. Just everything you would want out of great death metal. Phrenelith delivers here, without question. So, I can't really, let's see, are there any, I guess some standout tracks I enjoy from this: Deflesh and Ecstasy, the final track channeling a seismic eruption, which is a very cool way to end this album. I just feel like it really does kind of end on one of its strongest tracks on the album. But yeah, Phrenelith with Desolate Endscape. If you have not heard this, but I'm sure a lot of you already did, go check this shit out. Once again, solid fucking death metal that came out last year with a ton of great death metal. Finally, we have Alkaloid with Liquid Anatomy, their second full-length record on Season of Mist. Alkaloid is a technical progressive death metal supergroup consisting of members from Obscura, and what's the singer, Morian, I think is how you say his name. I can't remember what all bands he's been in. He's been in a bunch, but so you got Morian, you got Linus from Obscura, Kristen Muesner, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, who's also worked with Obscura, does a lot of solo stuff. You got Hans Grossman, who also used to be in Obscura, who's also done solo stuff. He worked with, just worked with tons of bands. You know, you guys probably know this. Very, very good stuff. I can't decide what I like more between this and the Malekith Grimoire, honestly. I think I might like them both equally. I guess I would say they get a little more weird, a little more experimental on this, but they don't drop the metal at all. This is still a fucking great tech prog extreme metal album all the way through. Just fucking crazy ass riffs. Linus's bass parts, as in every project he's in, like Obscura, Linus bass sound is just amazing. The musicianship and the talent that all these guys put out is amazing, but it's not just technical wankery either. These guys know how to create songs, slow things down when they need to, speed them up when they need to, and just make everything accessible and catchy and just memorable overall. At least in my opinion, I think they do that very well. But yeah, easily one of my favorites so far this year. I think the only contender for the best tech prog death album for the year is probably going to be Obscura's album. Excuse me again. Obscura's album later this year, Diluvium, which I do have pre-ordered. I can't wait to talk about that on here because I'm sure that's going to be fucking incredible. So yeah, if you have not heard it, definitely go check it out if you're into the modern extreme prog metal stuff. Alkaloid, Liquid Anatomy, fucking incredible album. Can't get enough of it. And that'll be it, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this CD collection update. If not, don't know what the fuck to tell you. Too bad. And I will see you guys again very soon. So have a good one. Take it easy.